Hi, this is Mike from Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and today we're going to take a look at custom DNS. Keep watching to find out more. Okay, so you're probably wondering, what is custom DNS, or what is DNS? Now, DNS is Domain Name System. This is basically the big phone book which allows you to access sites on the internet via IP addresses and translates a name to an address. That's the very simple, straightforward description of it. There is a lot more to it that goes on in the background, but essentially that is what it is. Now, the DNS settings that you're possibly using already are the ones that are probably provided by your ISP or network provider. Now, generally these are relatively benign and won't cause you any problems, but depending on your ISP and their method of DNS, you may find that your information is being tracked and then sold on to third parties. Your information, your digital footprint, has a value, and your ISP can take advantage of that by selling your information onto these third parties to give you targeted advertising, all those kinds of things. So, how do we go about changing this? Well, there are three big or main options that I would personally recommend to use for custom DNS settings, and there are three companies that come to mind. The first one is Google, obviously the king of search. They have a great DNS service. Also, Cloudflare is a relatively newcomer to the market, but Cloudflare do specialize in security and all that kind of stuff. They claim that they do not use your information in any way, shape or form, and it is erased after 24 hours off their server logs. So definitely a good option. The third option, if you want a little bit better, is OpenDNS. OpenDNS is now owned by Cisco Systems and has been around a long time and is sometimes regarded as the choice of the professional. So OpenDNS will allow you to search for things quicker, faster, in a more secure environment, but also has the advantages of blocking certain malicious or phishing domains, which is a good thing. So, how do we change these settings, you're asking? Well, let's go in and do that now. Okay, so there's a couple of ways you can change your settings. One is the simple way, which is straight from your desktop, laptop, or your mobile device, and you can just modify the settings yourself there. Alternatively, you can log into your router, your ISP's router, and you can change the DNS settings there. So then that setting will then propagate through all the connected devices in your network. So let's try that one first. I'm going to be using the Tenda app to access my Tenda Wi-Fi setup, and I'm going to change the DNS settings in there. Okay, so I'm going to be doing this in the app, and hopefully it should pop up just over here. So here is my phone desktop. So let's go into Tenda Wi-Fi, and we'll open up and see our home network. So if I go into my settings tab and then scroll down to DNS, now this is going to be the same for pretty much any Wi-Fi router or any kind of modem. Just go into your DNS settings. Now at the moment you can see I've got my setting as manual, and I've set my primary DNS server to 208.67.222.222. Now that is the OpenDNS primary DNS. There are other DNS settings. Again, I'll put these in the links in the show notes so you can copy and paste them for yourselves. And I've left my secondary DNS server, the optional, so this is kind of like a backup. If the first DNS lookup fails, I've left that to be my ISP's one. Now I could quite easily change that if I want to Google's one, which actually for the sake of this video I will do now. So all you do is overwrite the details. And there we go. So that's Google's 8.8.8.8. Alternatively, I could put the Cloudflare one in, which is 1.1.1.1, and then just click on save. And that's it. That is my DNS settings updated. So my primary now is for OpenDNS. So that will block any malicious websites, phishing attacks, all that kind of stuff. And if for any reason that my primary DNS can't find the website that I'm looking for, or for some reason is down, then it will switch to my secondary DNS server, which is the Cloudflare one, which again is pretty secure as well. So that's how to do it on a mobile device via my Tenda app into my router. Now, if you don't have access to your router for some reason, maybe you're in some kind of shared resource, or maybe you're just at a friend's house or whatever it may be, then maybe you want to change the settings on your individual PC. Now I'm going to go and show you how to do this on a Windows 10 PC, but the settings are very similar for most computers, so you can kind of get the gist of it. So let's go over to the PC. Okay, so here we are on the PC. Now let's go into the adapter settings and change our DNS. So first of all, click on the Windows Start and then go up to the Settings cog, as we generally seem to do a lot of these days. And then from the Settings cog, choose Network and Internet. From the Network and Internet section, you can choose Ethernet. If you're using a Wi-Fi connection, then click on Wi-Fi, but the whole thing is relatively the same. Just find your network adapter, essentially. So then we want to go into Change Adapter Options. Now again, if you're using more than one type of Ethernet adapter, they should all be listed here. I'm only using the one, so it makes the video a little bit simpler. So what we want to do is right click on the Ethernet adapter and choose Properties. Now in the Properties window, we've got a whole host of options, but the one that we're going to be concentrating here is the Internet Protocol version 4. Now you can use Internet Protocol version 6 as well if you wish to. Again, I'll leave the settings for that in the description below. It's exactly the same process, it's just a longer number. So let's go into version 4 and we will either choose Properties or you can double click it. So as we can see at the moment, it's set up to completely be automatic. So we've automatically getting an IP address, a subnet mask and a default gateway. And at the bottom where it says obtain DNS server address automatically, again, that is set to auto. So what we want to do is use the following DNS server addresses. Now, if you've changed this on your main router or your distribution device or whatever it may be, you don't need to change this. This will automatically propagate through the system into all your connected devices on that network. But like I said, if you want a little bit of extra security, maybe you've got a laptop and you take it to different places, cafes, libraries, that kind of thing, then you may want to change it yourself anyway. So in this section, we can put our preferred DNS server and then an alternative DNS server. Now, some places you go to may actually block certain DNS servers for reasons of data mining, that kind of stuff. So generally those are a bad thing anyway. But anyway, let's go and do this. So our primary DNS server, I'm going to put in as being the one from OpenDNS. So we're looking at 208.67.222.222. Now the dots will put themselves in automatically. Depending if your operating system is slightly different, you may have to put them in yourself. But again, you get the general idea. Like I said before, all of these IP addresses I will be putting in the show notes below, so you can check them out for yourself, copy and paste them in, you won't need to look them up. Now the alternative DNS server, now in the alternative, again, if the preferred DNS goes down for any reason, it will use a secondary DNS. Now you can actually put a secondary alternative for Cloudflare or Google or OpenDNS. They do generally all have failover IP addresses. So let's use the failover address for OpenDNS. Now it's exactly the same setup, so it's 208.67, but the next bit changes, so it's 220.220. So we've got a preferred DNS and alternative DNS. Like I said before, if you wanted to, you can put in the Cloudflare one, 1.1.1 or 1.0.0.1, which is their alternative one, or you can put the Google ones in, so it's 8.8.8.8 and 8.8.4.4. That's a lot of numbers right there. So then all you do is click on OK, and that's it, you're done. Now you can actually check to see if this has worked after you've rebooted your machine. Go to the internetbadguys.com, which is the kind of the test-in page for OpenDNS, and it'll tell you if your settings have worked or not. Again, you may need to reset your Wi-Fi router or modem to make sure these settings are active. So there you go, there is a basic introduction to alternative DNS settings if you want to either speed up, secure, or just enhance your privacy on your internet connection. So as always, I've been Mike, this is Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To, and hopefully we'll see you in the very next video. Thanks for watching.